All right, welcome back. It's still Hard Facts, and we had to let that song run through because the message is pungent, it is relevant, and it is the message we need in the now. All right, it is the Buharimeter 1 hour. We're going to be here till about 7:30 talking about how best to bring about the change Onyeka Onwenu so beautifully sang about. With me in the studio this evening is Razak Ayotunde. Hello, Razak. How you doing?
Hello, Fortune.
Welcome.
It's a thing to be hearing your voice, not
Kimberly's. Right.
But
you have to get used to it for the next 3 weeks at least.
Yes.
All right. So, just looking at the news headlines and some of the updates and editorials that have been written recently, this day had an editorial that was titled 901 Killed in Middle Belt since January. And this is 2018. And as if that was not enough, I found another editorial on Vanguard newspapers talking about 1,351 killed in 10 weeks across Nigeria in 2018 alone. This is not road accidents, it is not the deaths by malaria, it is not any one of the normal vices we have been fighting for years, not armed robbery. I mean, it is a situation that is disheartening. And this evening, beyond all of the lamentations that we have had, a lot of people have always called in. We've always had these forums and town hall meetings and security council meetings where accusing fingers are being pointed. People know what the problem is, but while we are all deliberating on what the problem is, people are still getting killed. Right now, we need options, and these options are the issues we're going to be talking about on Buharimeter today. Options to mitigate incessant killings and attacks in Benue and other states in Nigeria. Razak, you have a little to add to that?
Yes, I have a lot to add to that. I mean, these killings they've been incessant. I mean, I have a statistics here with me that shows the number of deaths since 2008. It is till date on that. This is just the killings that came about as a result of the headers, the pastoral conflict. And we have it that we've had over 7,102 deaths.
Wow.
That's from 2008 to 2017, not counting 2018 actually. And because even in 2018 there's been red flaggy months like January.
January was
quite
terrible.
A number of people dying. And then if you look at this graph that I have here, this chart that I have here, you will find that Benue State alone, perhaps that's why there's a concentration in that topic.
In that area.
You find Benue State alone has 1,943 deaths due to these headers, conflict. And then you have some states that have very, very low death rates. Look, say Bayelsa has just one, and then you have Gombe has just one. But how do we get to a point where we can be like, say, Bayelsa State or the Gombe State or the Katsina or the Kebbi
Lagos,
State,
where there's no one lost?
Who has been killed as a result of Lagos.
Or Lagos.
Where there's no one has been killed. How do we get there? That's why we have called an expert in this regard to help us deal with this topic this evening.
All right, and this expert we all have spoken about. First of all, we would like to appreciate him for how early he came.
Yes.
He was here quite on time. It shows how passionate he is about the issue of peace and conflict resolution. Mr. Adeola Adewumi, Adeolu Adewumi, if I got this right. He is a member of the governing council of the Institute of Conflict Resolution, Ministry of Foreign Affairs. He is a manager, Peace and Security Network. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you so much.
It's good to have you in the studio. Yes, sir. And thank you once again for being here so early. Thank you.
Thank you for
we need to acknowledge this and rub it in so that it goes around, that people need to arrive early.
No, thank you for acknowledging that. At least it's not, we want to put it on record that there are still Nigerians that keep to time. And that it is not because of the passion for the Peace and Security Network, but once we are able to manage things in little ways, we can graduate higher to bigger things.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Time is of the essence.
It's of the essence.
It's very important.
True. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
All right.
Pleasure.
All right. Let's just let's launch into this. Let's just start with your take on the entire thing, on these killings. What do you make of it? What do you make of all the deaths that that keep popping up every day? It's very likely we'll go to sleep today and wake up tomorrow and you hear another number of deaths. In the news. What do you make of this?
Thank you once again. It's important to situate this whole scenario in proper context, to understand actually where we're coming from and what is prevailing and where we expect ourselves to be. There are some things that are clear and without equivocation. It appears we are dealing with a systemic problem. Because I see a systemic problem because you can't have, and this is also according to the former Controller General of Immigrations, this is on record, is official, that Nigeria has over 1,400 borders that are illegal. Out of these is only, outside this is only 85 or thereabout that are designated legal. And breaking it down a little bit, Adamawa State alone has over 80 illegal borders and just 5 that are legal.
Okay.
Now, if you put that within the context of, foreigners coming in.
Okay.
And at the same time, you situate that within the ambit of disconnection of governance at the local level. And people taking up self-help approaches or arms to protect themselves.
Yes.
Because you are increasingly having ungoverned spaces and ungoverned people.
Ungoverned.
And in some areas, it has been tagged rural violence now.
Yes.
But then, putting all this together, it would be difficult and which usually is the case, for security personnel, let's put it at an estimate of over probably 600,000.
Okay.
The military
Okay.
and the police altogether. For security personnel to respond to such security threats at the local level or at the state level with dispatch and dispassionately.
And dispassionately.
Yes, I say that advisedly.
Okay.
Because you can't have an overwhelmed security sector continue to take up the role that is actually not supposed to have been put in place ab initio. The military, they are conducting internal security operations in over 32 states in Nigeria today, Abuja inclusive. Police, they're all over the place. And their capacity also gradually depleting. And they get into a conflict or insecurity zone or situation, and to be able to build confidence and trust within that locality is another challenge. Because more often than not, what is usually seen is the security in the security forces are not I mean, it's the force in security forces and not the security
itself. Okay, that's well said. But here's the thing. Now you've come from a point by saying, look, this killings that we're having are a result of a systemic breakdown, if you will. But some would like to say, look, no. Let's not say systemic breakdown. This really is a tribal conflict of sorts. What do you say to that? These people say, in fact, the media has gone so far as to label it the Fulani herdsmen conflict, which obviously it shouldn't be, because it's actually a pastoral herdsmen conflict. So we can't say for sure who is what. But I'm just saying that the mind of an average Nigerian is that, look, this is a tribal conflict. This is not so much that's if we're just talking about the Benue killings, per se now. What do you say to that kind of allegation?
I mean, you are also guilty of that, because you started your introduction by saying, farmer herders, and unfortunately, all over the media space, it is farmer herders. But then it appears we've gone beyond farmer herders.
At this point, yes.
At this point. And it is poignant to note and put it on the table. And I'm quite pleased with the recent comment of the Emir of, or the Sultan of Sokoto, when he was launching the latest, the members of the Magban, the new members. He gave them a marching order. Identify and produce within 2 months the elements within your midst that are causing this, so that the media and the public would not continue to label this ethnic group wrongly. Now, if we say it is, by the way, in this day and age, we don't talk about tribalism anymore, it's ethnicity.
Okay.
It's an atavistic coinage now. So if we say it is an ethnic issue or ethnic conflict, unfortunately everything within Nigeria is usually tainted or zeroed in or clothed within the context of religion, ethnicity, and politics. And we shouldn't look at this issue from that myopic angle.
Okay.
Because it goes beyond that. What we used to know when this whole problem started was, about resources. So it's not just, it's because I'm Fulani, that is why I need to kill or probably harm someone that is not Fulani, because I'm, just herding my cows, my cattle, and all that. No. There must be something on ground that must have triggered whatever action the supposed pastoralist or farmer must have taken. And interestingly, the situation had escalated to a stage now where, both sides carry arms.
Yes, we heard even some religious leaders have told their congregation that, look, get firearms, defend yourself.
Even though we don't encourage that.
We don't encourage it.
It is absolutely unacceptable.
Obviously. Like I always say, you don't kill fire with fire. It's not possible.
That is it. And so, basically, there's a need for us to do a proper assessment of what is going on. There's so much. It's multifaceted. As we speak, it has gone beyond the farmer and the pastoralist. It's gone beyond. Some people have argued, and I'm almost tempted to say that we're under siege.
By whom?
That's the question. By whom? So we need to be able to disaggregate these things and understand different perspectives.
Okay.
Well, there's the angle of where it seems like the security forces are not able to rise up to the occasion, and people are at the mercy of the situation. Is it still wrong to defend yourself in that situation?
Lawyers have argued that the Constitution
permits self-defense, is it not?
Self-defense. And then the question again is to what degree?
Yes, to what degree?
To what degree? I mean, if
doesn't the degree of attack determine?
Yes.
Do you completely vanquish your foe? What do you do?
That is it again. But that doesn't permit people to be carrying arms
It does not.
and ammunition.
Unlicensed for that matter.
The territory is awash with arms and ammunition that are
small
in
arms.
non-state actors' hands. And they are just waiting for the opportunity to just deploy. One of the major proponents of the arms race in the world today, National Rifle Association of the U.S., their objective or their goal is, or their mission statement is, arms don't kill people, it's people that kill people.
Yes.
Okay, so that is an argument for them in order to consistently sell their product and ensure that, it goes round. And so if people find themselves in a situation where, even if we report to the security personnel, it may be biased. So, why do we? Or even if we report and there are some arrests, and there are no follow-ups. So what happens? So people resort to self. But we don't want to encourage this. We want a situation which is very important, and which is, the critical thing at the end of the day, governance. Governance.
Okay, let me just really quickly ask this question before we actually launch into the options, towards trying to resolve this crisis. So far, what is your assessment of how federal government, this current government, has handled crisis? What do you think? How would you rate the effectiveness of governance in terms of handling this crisis, these killings, and how?
You can only comment if we're not particular now about the product, but it is the process. If the process is right, the product will be guaranteed.
True.
Good.
I'm saying this because here's the thing. When the Dutch girls were kidnapped, this is one of the things that the federal government touts as an achievement, in the sense that they were able to retrieve the girls in what you could call record time. Even though it didn't get all of them, we're still saying bring back
Yeah.
But anyway, in any case, that is one of the ways I could say, perhaps they forestalled the killings, and then quickly after. But then, if you looked at it in general, perhaps the girls should not have been taken in the first place.
We shouldn't have been through that situation in the first place.
If the security personnel had been on ground. So, how would you assess them? How would you assess this federal government?
Let's give them some. Let's give the federal government some credit, and even the security agencies, for those that are putting their lives
on the line. True.
On the line of duty.
True.
True. You don't get to hear often about,
rescue action.
Not only rescue actions, how many security personnel that, are killed in the theater of operations, those that lose their arms, limbs, and all that. You don't get that report often. But there are people that are doing this, and we should give credit, which is very important. So that, the ones that would be out there tomorrow will be motivated to do more they need to do for the country. But like I said, it deserves some credit. That's the truth. What if we had a situation where people just refuse to, go out there and defend? That's another thing.
That's another angle.
So let's give them some credit, but we know they can do better. And what we're trying to do is to encourage them to do better, because we know, security is a continuum. It's a process. It's a continuum, and there shouldn't be gaps. You just alluded to the Dapchi incident. Having done a serious analysis, and I've written about it, done a scenario mapping for some international organizations before now on that. On the security situation appears especially around the kidnappings in the Northeast. If you look back, I mean, the situation has been that if there are attacks in Borno and they are so intensive, expect a likelihood of attack in Adamawa or Yobe.
Neighboring
or
states.
Yobe in that sequence. Yobe, Adamawa. You had a kidnapping incident in Borno.
You're likely to have that kind of incident.
We expected, it wasn't, I would rather say, it didn't really come as a huge surprise. The incident in Dapchi.
Why?
Because of the pattern of attacks.
But if there is a pattern, shouldn't we be learning from this pattern?
Yes,
I'm
shouldn't be able to
preparing.
Security experts will tell you season initiative, staying ahead. Yes. I mean, let us appreciate the ones that are, working and they are doing their bit. We should give credit to them, give credit to the officers and men, and also the initiative to respond with dispatch. But then the argument still remains, and which we want to strongly encourage the government. Rather than deploy security personnel to such situations, it is still possible to respond to early warning signals that may have developed and were developing, and you shouldn't allow, because when you dispatch or deploy security forces, for internal security operations, especially the military that have been so overwhelmed now, you are also putting them on the spot in a situation where people begin to lose trust and confidence because of unintended consequences. These things are clear. Over time, we've witnessed it. And, William Zatman will argue, a very prominent, world-renowned conflict analyst, on the stages of internal conflict. Yeah, it talks about articulation, mobilization, insurgency, and warfare. There were times that people articulated their ideas. There were times that we saw them, you must have seen them mobilize. These are stages that you could have just nipped this thing and mobilize the community leaders, mobilize the ex-security personnel, mobilize who, the key stakeholders within this community. We don't want this to get out of hand. At these stages, these things are clear. But you don't allow things escalate to a stage of, insurgency, getting to a stage of warfare, and you want to continue to deploy.
But essentially, what arm of government do you think should be responsible for this particular, not arm now, what agency of government should be responsible for taking into account all of these signals? Because if people are if you get the signs, you see like you say, you see the mobilization, and then who should take responsibility for that particular? This is a red flag. This is a red flag. Let's curtail the situation, contain rather, before it gets out of hand. Who should we? The police, the military,
the police, sure. That is their statutory role. That's their statutory responsibility. When you talk of security internally, that is their statutory responsibility, and we shouldn't take it away from them.
Right.
That's very important. And we should also allow the Ministry of Interior at the federal level to perform its role and responsibility effectively. Effectively, in terms of coordinating and ensuring effective response, real-time response. It should be able to perform that role effectively. But unfortunately, when you talk about the police in Nigeria, people get wary, and there's a lot that has to be done in terms of image rebuilding, and all that.
But are you one of
they're
those?
Still working hard.
But are you one of those that subscribes to the fact that, look, if we had state police, we might be able to better manage security in the country?
State police or no state police, we can still get it right if we are ready to abide by our laws, and those that need to be sanctioned, whether at the state or federal level, they should be sanctioned.
Okay.
Let there be that sense of justice, that sense of, that confidence building, the confidence building measures that cuts across. I'm happy you raised the issue of state police. You hear state governors today talk about, we don't have control over the police, and that, they respond to the federal level, they take instruction from the IG first, before they... But I tell you, if every state governor today in Nigeria withdraws their support from every police commissioner or every police command, the police will be left bare. So you see the dynamics. Some people say some things to suit a particular purpose.
Okay.
Yeah, the Constitution or whatever grants. The police commissioner would have to, stay there with his boss in Abuja and all that. But the reality on ground, it is still. You can work with the reality on ground to ensure that security at the local level is as effective as anything.
Yes, but the reality on ground, is that the police are saying, like, look, we are overwhelmed. In fact, that particular phrase has been used a number of times. That look, they are overwhelmed. There's just too many things to handle at once. And then we get a situation whereby the military comes in to play, where they should not ideally be in play. And you have the police backing down for the military. And you have a situation whereby even the president is saying, look, the military should have been here, when in fact that particular jurisdiction is actually that of the police. And there's this, and I think for me, these are some of the reasons why security is very porous in this country, because there are no clear lines, and people who should be within those clear boundaries are not, in fact, taking effective action based on their jurisdiction. Yes, exactly.
Well, so this is where the question of the vision for our national peace infrastructure comes in. What is that vision, and how can we get one if we don't have one?
What is that vision? We need to have it. And we need to articulate it properly. And we need to work towards it. Just as an example also, flowing from what you just said about the military and the police. And you can't have such a situation and expect that your peace and security architecture would be reflective of a democratic culture. One would be reflective of a citizen-driven security process or citizen engagement. And this, I need us to understand this properly. This is not an indictment on the military or whatever. But yeah, probably as a fallout of military interventions, so we are increasingly having the supposed need to quickly deploy the military in situations where the police should actually be responsible for. And I argue over time, since the return to democratic rule, that we are increasingly having a militarized society under democratic governance. And this is not just about the military or the police, it's also about the citizenry. You go on the streets and you see someone driving, they are not so confident of themselves until they have a jungle hat on their dashboard or a whip.
Or a military belt.
These are things that are reflective of a militarized society under democratic government. Before you say Jack Robinson, somebody wants to be very vocal and attack you and all that. These are things that we're talking about. It cuts across. People are, some people feel so comfortable. No, I need to talk to the brigade commander or the garrison commander or the GOC. I can't talk to the police commissioner because this is beyond him. What are we talking about? And we want to build an infrastructure for peace that is sustainable. These are critical gaps that we need to be able to begin to address and look into.
But what options now? What options remain for us as a nation, as a society, in terms of forestalling this killings, this spate of killings? What do you think that the government should put in place quickly so that we can stop waking up to news of deaths here and deaths there?
Build confidence.
Build confidence.
Confidence building, very critical.
How do we do that?
Governance, critical.
How do they do that?
I gave you an example earlier on about just a task from by the AMIA of the Sultan of Sokoto. Tasking people that fish out these fifth columnists or bad elements among yourselves. That is just an example. And if we're actually serious about apprehending people, let us know that people are apprehended or perpetrators are apprehended and there are sanctions. That would keep people, that will begin to build confidence across board. Primary purpose of the government is the security and welfare of its people. The Nigerian Constitution says that. Without welfare, there can't be security. Without security, welfare is elusive. So, these are intervening variables that must go together. And most importantly, human life, the sanctity of human life we need to start seeing it as crucial. That if one single soul drops dead in any part of Nigeria, somebody should take responsibility and somebody should be ready to follow up on and get to the root of it. Because over time, you hear situations where we've arrested some people, we're on top of it, and you don't hear anything again. So these are things, confidence building measures that should be put in place. And governance at the local level, very critical, very, very critical. Like I said, we're increasingly having ungoverned spaces and ungoverned people because insecurity situations, threats, criminality, banditry, among other things, have shifted from the urban areas to the rural because there are gaps there. There are gaps.
And the local leaders too, like you said, the Sultan, They also have a role. Speaking of, they also have a role to play. They also have a role. What about the media?
Very importantly, yeah. I mean, the media definitely shapes the narrative. But there was a part you spoke about. The 4 stages of articulation,
mobilization, insurgency, and warfare.
Concerning this particular situation we're facing right now, the biggest problem we have now, I think is even bigger than the insurgency in the northeast, because going by the narrative being sold, that is under control. But this doesn't look to be under control at all.
There seems to be nothing.
What stage do you think we are at now, and what can we do now to resolve this particular one before it gets out of hand?